Thank you, Violet. So welcome everyone to admin today. Is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will roll right into it, and we will begin with annual letter of agreement between First Step Resource Center and Missoula County. Dave Conway, you want to come on up here and join us at the table?
This is an annual letter that we've been doing for, this is an annual letter we've been doing for a number of years. Prior to this, we were charged per visit, and they've come up with a flat rate fee annually. And the commission has seen this, I guess, for the last several years. And so it's just time for another renewal of it. They've added a few services that they provide to this contract, but haven't taken anything away from it.
What services did that?
They added some collection of suspect forensic evidence. So I can go into detail about what that means if you want to be. But yeah, they will collect suspect forensic evidence for us at certain times now. They've been doing it. It's just added to the contract.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I move to approve the annual letter of agreement between First Step Resource Center and Missoula County.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, we need a drum roll for this. Erica Grindy, come on up and talk to us about the telecommute policy and the associated documents.
Thanks. So as you all know, in the last 16 months, many of the county employees moved to remote work environments. As we're starting to all return to the workplace, I think there's a desire among both employees and county management to allow some continued telecommuting. The county has had a policy. It was a pretty short paragraph in the HR policies and didn't go into much detail in terms of expectations on both employee and management for employees telecommuting. So this is much more detailed in terms of the policy. And then associated documents include an actual telecommuting agreement, which was referenced in the former HR policy, but it wasn't a formalized standard agreement for employees to enter into. And so that's also included. There's a home safety checklist, which none of you are surprised to hear that I'm bringing. But Kim Adamo helped to review that. And a lot of that is just to make sure employees are considering their workspace, ergonomics, making sure they have the things they need at home that we hopefully are providing in the county workspaces to keep people safe and continuing able to not only do their job, but do the things they like to do outside work. And then the final document was reviewed by Jason Emery, and it relates to more the tech security side of things. So making sure employees who are working from home understand what they need to keep their technology secure and those sorts of things. These have been provided and hopefully reviewed by department heads and supervisors. There was good input provided, but that's why it's taken a little bit to get back to you. I think many departments will need to do their own internal policies because, like all things, this is not a one size fits all. So I'm hoping that this provides greater benefits to employees that can take part in this, but also recognizing that this doesn't work for every position in the county.
I didn't see anything in here like a healthy snacks checklist while working from home.
We're not going to check people's pantry.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm good.
Okay.
I would request the board approve the telecommute policy and associated documents.
Second.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erica. Okay, Chris, we have an MOU between the city of Missoula and Missoula County regarding the Missoula Federal Building.
Yes, so thanks, Commissioners. So this is a request to close the public comment period that you opened last week at your public meeting a week ago at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We've not received any public comment to the Commissioner's email address at this point related to this MOU. So request that you close the comment period and then sign the MOU with the city, which will move us one step closer towards the acquisition of the federal building.
Thank you, Chris. Questions?
No, I'm surprised we didn't get a single comment.
Yeah, I did get some email just sent to me. I don't know how that fits in.
Yeah, actually, we
Not about this MOU, specifically just about the federal building in general. If the emails referenced the MOU, I would pass it on. It was just generally about the federal building.
Did you guys attend the downtown association? Was it the downtown association meeting about?
I did not. I will say that the city received positive public comment from the Downtown Association towards the acquisition of the federal building.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know whether the comment we received was triggered by this MOU or just in general weighing in on the federal building. But
yeah, and certainly if it went to you guys outside the combined commissioner email address, bcc@missoulacounty.us, and you want to, you can always read it into the record since it went to you, but it just should be part of your deliberation is around this if it came in for that. So
absolutely, definitely, there's concern out there about the money to be spent on the federal building, and I think with things like this, we need to consider not just the money spent, but what would the return on that be? And one of the things I'm personally excited about is what would take the place of existing city and county offices right now, given that the workers who are there who contribute to the economy of our downtown area would still remain, they'll just be a few blocks away. And what we'd end up with a net gain. New buildings would occupy these spaces full of retail, commercial, office, and potentially some housing with new people here who aren't here now, who would be exercising, kind of engaging in economic activity that isn't happening right now.
yeah, that's right. It's all of that's in alignment with the downtown master plan, sets the stage for redevelopment, recognizes that we do have real space needs that, if not now, at some point will need to be addressed and dealt with, and perhaps at a much even greater cost down the road if we're looking at needing to redevelop some other portion of land.
Chris had his index finger.
Oh, is that the index finger? I'm glad.
So just one other piece to add on to what Josh was saying that is important to recognize is that currently these buildings are exempt from property tax under their existing. So if they are used for redevelopment, presumably they will add to the tax base, which obviously is a benefit to the downtown as well. So
that is an excellent.
I imagine they will go away and be replaced by much grander structures full of more people.
Okay, so the motion before us is to close the public hearing and to approve the MOU. And I guess before we do is we do have an esteemed deputy county attorney in the room here. I don't know if this is something that you have anything, Brian West, whether you've been involved in this at all or have any thoughts one way or the other.
Primarily, this has been a more esteemed deputy county attorney, John Hart's.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So no, I'm sorry to say I don't have more to add.
Okay, but yeah, no objections.
So I move that the board approve the, am I on the right one? Yeah, MOU with the city of Missoula regarding formation of a jointly owned entity for the acquisition, management, and utilization of the Missoula Federal Building.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion or comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does Martin have any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Martin.
Oh, you're good. I just
forgot.
had that out there.
Martin, you need to show up here in person more often.
Yeah, I'm watching you guys right now. You're looking good. I like my view, and I don't have any questions.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll move on.
next. Brought to us, let me flip the page here. Cindy Kennedy, do you want to talk to us about this item?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, commissioners. So this item is asking for authorization for the chair to sign a final closeout certification for the Missoula County YWCA Missoula CDBG grant contract. So I'm in the process of closing out the grant that we received to help support the costs of the new YWCA Meadowlark facility. And this is a due diligence document that requires Dave's signature for final closeout, and is certifying that I've met all of the requirements associated with the CDBG grant. Are there any questions?
It was a great project and wonderful to be closing it out.
Okay.
Indeed.
That was your motion.
Oh, thanks. I would move that we authorize the chair to sign the final closeout certification.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Kayla, come on up and join us at the table. This is a request to authorize the chair to sign a HUD Continuum of Care Agreement for Rapid Rehousing, for a Rapid Rehousing Grant.
Yeah, good morning. Good to see you guys.
Nice to see you in person. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is our annual contract that we get with HUD that the YWCA administers for the Rapid Rehousing Program through the Continuum of Care. This year it is a non-competitive process, so they just were awarded grantees who were awarded previous year to this year. So the amount is for $324,558. All of that except for $12,653 would be going to the Y. The rest of it would be to Missoula County for the administration piece of it.
Wonderful.
And they'll serve about 49 households with this grant.
Nope, that sounds excellent. Any other questions?
No, that was my question, was how many people were we serving? So 49, great. I move that the board approves chair to sign U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Continuum of Care Grant Agreement for Rapid Rehousing Grant administered by Missoula County and YWCA Missoula.
I'd second that.
Any further discussion on this? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And they have a beautiful new facility. So, okay, Jason Hauser, we are revisiting lightning protection today.
Stand back, here it comes.
Okay.
For a bolt.
So last week we talked about the main roof and the main system for the annex. I had forgotten to put on, this is the 3,000 that would cover the tower at the cell tower for Adrian's stuff there. So this is a lightning protection, new certified system that will tie to the roof system for the tower on top of the annex. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I think according to what you said the other day, the building actually has been struck by lightning in the past. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Emery said about 4 or 5 years ago it was hit and sustained some significant damage from it, electric-wise.
So not completely unprecedented, not that long ago.
The effects of damage to the gear up there would be huge.
Yes.
So,
Should we do this, do you think?
Yes.
3,000, yes.
Do it. I would, is it yours?
It's you, I think.
Thank you. Request the board approve the contract between Keefler Lighting Protection and Missoula County.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Jason.
Commissioners Martin has his hand up.
Oh,
All right.
Martin, lightning.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the lightning strike stopped the clock, like back in the future.
That's a great question.
No, that clock is so old. It's
Perhaps.
lightning.
We have our IT guy here.
Yeah, that clock is so old. I think it's lightning proof. It's all steel mechanics. Yeah.
I've noticed it does kind of bounce around. It's going fast. It's going slow.
Yeah.
It's 100 and some years old, and it's pretty accurate for a clock that's, 120 years old. So it's pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
Martin, if you ever want to, you ought to take a tour of the clock tower. It's worth. Oh, you've not done it?
No, I want to do that.
Absolutely.
Just didn't
It's
need it.
totally worth a visit.
For his retirement.
Oh, I had to leave for.
Oh, you left early. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
this
I would
could be
love
a nice feature story in some publication here in Missoula.
It's incredible.
Yeah, Martin, we can go together.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that. Let me know when you're up for it.
All right,
Josh, I can get you up here anytime you want, so just let me know.
great, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. So moving right along, Kyla, we have an appointment to the Lolo Community Council.
Hello. So the commissioner appointed term expired as of May 31st, 2021. We had 2 applicants to consider for appointment. Warren Kingdon, the previous member, submitted his letter of interest to serve 1 term and is eligible for reappointment. And then we had 1 new applicant, Ashley Scully. So it's just a request that's a new 3-year term through May 31st, 2024 to the Lolo Community Council.
Yeah, I remember this person. I think it would be a good.
Which one? So which one are we choosing?
I think we're choosing both. Is that correct?
It's for 1 term. So it's either to reappoint Warren, who's the current member, or appoint the new applicant.
It's either or.
It's only 1 vacancy right now.
I did not understand that.
Because there's a 7th board member on the Lolo Community Council that's a BCC appointment. So that's why it's going through this process rather than the election process.
I remember when.
Was I here for Ashley?
There was at least another commissioner in the room.
I remember Ashley.
And
I remember appointing Warren.
Yeah.
Wait, so we've appointed Warren.
He's been on there a while.
He's the previous member. His term expired May 31st, 2021, and he submitted his letter of interest.
Someone competing for this.
Yes, and then we had the new applicant, Ashley.
Okay, and what I'm confused is that, did we meet with Warren?
No.
No.
We typically do
years ago.
Okay, I don't know Warren. Okay.
So I guess I guess 2 things are possible. One thing that we have done in the past when existing board members are asking to be reappointed and commissioners are not all familiar with that person is ask them to come in and chat with us. Alternatively,
Ashley, she plays rugby. WGM.
Yes, that's correct.
Now,
So the other option would be, I have not heard from, because I was erroneously under the assumption this is adding another person to a vacancy that may not exist if we're just filling some seat that's filled by someone already asking for a reappointment. I wouldn't mind having some time to chat with the board chair out there.
Yeah.
Sure. Has the term already expired?
The term has expired. I've talked with the chair, Kevin, and he's actually putting the new bylaw template on the July agenda because he was wondering about potential of an alternate since there's 2 applicants, but they haven't adopted those new bylaws.
That would really be wonderful. Is there a way to kind of hold this in advance and then have one of these folks be an alternate?
Yeah, I can just let both members know that it's being put on hold till the council can determine new bylaws that would allow for an alternate position.
Because now I remember Ashley, she's dynamic.
Lolo would be well served to have
absolutely
Ashley here, and we don't need to make Warren go away.
So I guess the other option would be to simply reappoint Warren and then appoint Ashley if once the bylaws are updated. Or are you thinking holding off on both of them until how quickly is this going to happen?
Yeah, when is their meeting?
They meet once a month.
Their July meeting, I think, is, I want to say the 2nd week of July is when they're going to discuss the bylaws, but then they would still have to adopt them and get them signatured and brought before you for signature. So it might be a month or more before they were approved in action.
Okay, so what did you say? We could reappoint Warren and appoint Ashley to the alternate position.
But we got to wait till it's like officially created.
Oh, we could tell her that
let's
that's kind of the plan.
That's the plan.
I can tell her in the letter, and I can even call her and explain the situation.
So we would hope that she would attend the July meeting.
And I can definitely encourage her to attend.
But I guess the bigger question for me, and maybe we're okay with this, is I don't know how well Warren has I don't know,
You know,
it's
that's-
participation in the council, and that's where I think having a
Actually,
conversation with Kevin.
I'm in agreement with you now. Why don't we chat with
The
Kevin?
chair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we do that and then revisit this the next time we're back together?
So what's the
So-
timing? So you're
so
gonna
hold-
call Kevin?
Yeah, I can call Kevin. Why don't we schedule this again, not next week, but the week after? And we will, is that possible? And an admin and,
Throw a wrench in things.
I mean, they're just gonna have a vacancy for a little while, which,
Yeah, I think the council was going through officer elections, which is part of the reason he was wanting an appointment, but I don't know if they've done that yet. I don't know if that's planned for the July.
is Warren currently an officer?
He is the treasurer, or was currently.
When is their next meeting?
It's like, I think the 13th of July, possibly.
Oh, Tuesday, which is, could we discuss this at
Could we do it?
10 a.m.
Could
on
we,
Tuesday?
yeah, could we do it at the 10 a.m. admin meeting on the 13th?
Yeah, I can just put this on if that's what.
And we can let them
Fine with
know
me.
that they will know by that evening.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lolo is the second Tuesday. Yeah. So the 13th.
I would feel better having some sense from
Yes,
Kevin. so-
yes. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thanks. We will hold that one till the 13th. Next, we have a whole bunch of our favorite item to look at, and these are standard employment agreements. If I'm not mistaken, items 8 through 25. Chris, would you like to say anything about these?
Yeah, so two things here. You actually have two different things from partnership in front of you. So you have your standard employment agreements, and just as a reminder, partnerships providers are on one-year contracts, and so every year as we approach July 1st, you see a flurry of these new employment agreements for providers at Partnership Health Center. You also have in there 2 meritorious bonuses for a couple of staff that Lori wanted to recognize related to some of the work that they did during COVID, and that was their chief financial officer and Dr. Quirk. She has already done some additional bonuses for other staff as well to do that. And as a reminder, partnership is not funded by property tax dollars. They're funded through fee for service. And so these are not directly related to property taxes, which is why they sometimes are or can appear a little out of skew compared to what is normal county practice. So
Thanks for saying that.
Okay. We could take the bonuses separately or lump them all together.
Oh,
Do it all together, it's fine.
so what was the numbers of 11?
8 through 25
Oh,
Thanks.
for all PHE items.
All right, I would move we approve items 8 through 25.
Second,
Any further discussion on items 8 through 25, which includes 2 bonuses and also a bunch of standard employment agreements? Seeing none, all in favor?
aye.
Okay,
Done.
moving on to discussion items. Our first correspondence, actually, we have a couple items today, both which pertain to so-called RAISE grants. RAISE is the is what used to be Build, and prior to that was Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
So these are both planning grants, one of which is a letter of support for what the city and or MPO is going after. This is, or who is the applicant here? Chris, do you know?
I think that Annette is on the line to talk about this one, the first letter.
Okay, Annette, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Annette Marcia, so I'm with the Missoula Redevelopment Agency. And we are a part of a coalition colloquially known as the Midtown Mojo. And I'm here today on behalf of Emily Brock, who is out of town this week. So the Midtown Mojo group is a group that has been meeting since, I don't know, since 2014, 2015 to try to figure out how to better integrate Brooks Street into Midtown, make it a safer street to cross, and a street that will support transit-oriented development. So Mountain Line, the county through the fairgrounds, the MDT, the city, MRA, the MPO, the planning department at the city, the engineers, some local engineers, local architects. So a whole broad coalition of folks interested in this project. We've done a study that a couple of plannings, very, very preliminary planning studies. One that was completed, they sort of build on each other. And this most recent one was an infrastructure study to understand how can we get transit onto Brook Street and make it a successful, because everything is interrelated. You need to have successful transit, just getting through traffic, but you also need to have that critical mass of riders to make the transit successful. And then given that this is an MDT route, you also need to keep a certain capacity flow of vehicular traffic. And as you're aware, Brook Street is the primary route between the Bitterroot and downtown, so carries a lot of traffic, and there are safety concerns both vehicularly and, as I'm sure you're well aware, it's difficult to cross as a pedestrian or a bicyclist to cross Brook Street. You prefer to stay on one side or the other, or I know people who get in their car to get across Brook Street if they want to go from one side of the neighborhood to the other. So the concept that has, we think has a lot of merit is a center running bus rapid transit. So the bus would be in a center lane, and the stations would also be in the center lane, which does a lot of symbiotic things. The bus stations allow a pedestrian refuge to be able to cross the street. And they also help to aggregate left turn lanes, which help with traffic flow and also slowing. If you're consolidating your left turn lanes, then you have less opportunities for conflict, pedestrian vehicular conflicts. So we have this really awesome concept, but it needs to really be fleshed out. So we are submitting an application for a RAISE planning grant to really flesh that out and put the project in a position to then be in a place that we could start looking for capital funding. And so we're seeking, and the county, as you're aware, is a very large landowner in the Midtown area through the fairgrounds. And Emily would be presenting this information to you if she weren't out of town. So we're asking for a letter of support from the commissioners for our grant application.
Do we know how much the grant is for?
We, yes, it'll be just a little under 900, or just a little over $900,000.
Great. Is there a, can we get is there a visual, do you have a website for a visual or a graphic to go with this?
We do, yes. If you, and I didn't know if I would need visuals or not. If you go to the Missoula Redevelopment Agency website and go to major projects, I think it's the first project that pops up, and there's a link to this study that was just completed, and it has a lot of visual graphics and then of course a lot of detailed information.
Great, thank you.
Annette, who wrote this grant?
So MRA is writing the grant and will be the primary applicant, but we're teamed with Mountain Line, so they're partnering. And then a lot of support also from the Midtown Association, the members of the Midtown or the Midtown Mojo. So the Midtown Association, we've got Climate Smart, obviously Mountain Line, the MPO, Jordan Hess, who's a city councilor, and also with the university transportation. But the city the city through MRA is leading the application process, and Mountain Line is our partner.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We will get that distributed for signature.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And do you have a copy of the letter, or do I?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yep, so we'll all sign it electronically later today.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, moving on, and as luck would have it, we have a second raise application. This is also a planning grant for the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. So this grant is being written by the grant application is being written by the Park County grant staff who are assisting with this. It's for a project that would be about $149,000 total. The amount that we're asking for the planning grant is $119,000, and this is for a socioeconomic study, which is an important prerequisite to making the case that there are socioeconomic benefits to be had by passenger rail.
Great. Way to go, Park County.
Way to go, Park County.
They
have
used
stepped
all
up.
of Buttigieg's names.
Yes, he has several middle names. So, yeah, so we will get this out to everyone, and hopefully this will get over the finish line, and we'll get we're actually kicking off phase 1 of the study probably next month with the Rail Passengers Association, and this will be the deeper dive, and potential partners would include both the Western Transportation Institute out of MSU Bozeman, Rail Passengers Association, and our very own MPO here in Missoula is going to kick in some dollars.
Dave, do you know if the competition for these planning grants is less or more intensive than the old build grant, not the planning piece, but here's the money to go do the work part?
I do not know. One concern was, well, might these two grants be competing against one another? Well, this grant for the rail authority is it's not coming out of Missoula County, for one thing. It's de minimis.
In this world, it's small money.
It is pocket change, literally. So I don't know how this
with down. Did we get support from our congressional delegation for this one?
We have asked for letters of support. I'm not sure if those have come in yet, but we shall see.
Great.
Okay.
Well done,
Any other
Dave.
questions?
Well done.
Okay.
Moving on.
Very good. So that will come around via Ready Sign. Is that what we're using these days? Okay. We've retired DocuSign. All right. Discussion items. Anything upcoming that we need to be aware of, or anything else?
We need to say that we will not be here next week.
We will not. The commission will be out of the office next week. There might be one meeting on Thursday that we'll be dialing into. This would be the discussion for Operation Shelter, and getting a presentation from our Operation Shelter team and Adrian Beck. But other than that, the office will still be open. Folks can reach out, but the commission might be a little slow in getting back to you.
And Chris, what's the time of that meeting?
Thursday
noon to 1:30 in Allison. Tuesday of next week.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
And it'll be an all virtual meeting.
All virtual. Okay.
Have a great 4th of July, everyone.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Be safe.